sawa sawa sawa, atope mingi. Jumbo everybody, and welcome at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery. This is a center that is taking care of orphan baby elephants and rhinos, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. Today we've got 12 baby elephants in the nursery at the moment. They'll be joining us because it is 3 p.m. in Kenya, and we feed them on intervals of 3 hours, day and night. 3 p.m. is one of the feeding times, and they'll be running out from the bush to come and get their bottles of milk. And each elephant takes 2 bottles for those elephants that are over 2 years, and the young ones take 1 bottle. These babies are here in the nursery because they're orphans. They've been orphaned from different parts of the country, and they have different reasons for being orphans. So that is why we had to rescue them, so that we can hand raise them here in the nursery for approximately 3 years. And any time after the age of 3, start to reintroduce them back into the world. We'll always reintroduce them to Tsavo East National Park in Kibwezi Forest. This process of reintroducing them takes quite a long time before it fully happens, a minimum of about 5 years before they start to make friends among the wild herds. And it takes this long period because it depends with the different characters of different elephants. It depends with the reasons that have caused them to be left orphans. It also depends with their age when they became orphans. And that's why some might take 5 years, others might take 10 years. But most important is they will all find friends among the wild herds who will invite them in the families. And once invited, they'll be trained, they'll be protected, they'll be warned against human beings, and they will have become as wild as any other elephant out there. And when we see that happen, we can successfully say we've achieved our target. And our main target here is to rescue them, since they were found orphans, hand raise them, and later on setting them free to become wild out there. And I'm just very happy to let you know that I'm a grandparent of an elephant called Lapa, who was given birth by Lenana, one of the orphans that we took care of in the nursery. And this tells a lot of success. Here comes the babies. The first one to come in, as always, an elephant by the name Mukoka, who is about 2 years old, who was orphaned while at the age of about 7 months. Orphaned from a northern part of Tsavo East National Park, an area called Edumba, identified all alone without a herd or a family or a mother, which is not normal. And I say not normal because elephants are herd animals. They always stay in groups and families. They're always protective of one another. And a young elephant should not be all alone. One has to be with the mother or the rest of the family members. We do have Olorian, who happens to be the latest arrival in the nursery, who is almost 1.5 years old, who was rescued from the Masai Mara, who was identified all alone, very thin and weak and skinny, a sign that she was starving, a sign that she was not getting the mother's milk and could not feed on enough greens. And so she was an orphan, and that's why we rescued her. We do have Naleku, the youngest in the nursery, trying to take water from the water. She's only 1 year old, slightly over a year, and she was from the Masai Mara. Mother believed to have died from a natural disease, and that's why she was left in the company of an auntie, another bigger female, who was protecting her. But this auntie already had her own baby that was breastfeeding, and so she could not provide milk to Naleku at the same time. And that's why Naleku at 6 months could not have survived. And that's the reason to why we had to come in and help rescue her. We expect her to be 3 years and above before we take her to Tsavo to start the process of being reintroduced back into the world. We do have Ziwadi at the far end, who is about 2 years old, who was also rescued from the Masai Mara, abandoned or left behind by the rest of the family members for reasons we then. But sometime in the nursery, we discovered that she's epileptic, and sometimes she goes into seizures. And when that happens, she's left behind by the rest of the family members. Elephants are very clever and very intelligent animals, and sometimes, if a mother realizes that these babies won't make it, sometimes the mother gives up. And if the mother gives up, then the baby is left all alone. We suspect, we're not sure if that is the reason to why Ziwadi was left behind, but it might be one of the reasons that might have caused her to be left behind by the rest of the family members. We are expecting her to get back to normal by the time she's ready to go back into the world. That is after 3 years and above. So that is just a group of 4 out of the 12 that we expect to join us anytime now. We've got Tolorian trying to get water from the water hole. A little bit warm and cloudy and a little bit cold breeze coming in. So the elephants might want to go in the mud or might not. We just have to wait and see. As we've always said, we don't train these elephants on doing anything. We set them in a wild environment and let them do what they want. So if they want to play in the mud, then it is their choice. We will assist them. And if they don't, we let them feed on greens or play with the dust as well. Kiombo has just joined us, and Kiombo is the oldest bull in the nursery. He's over 2.5, almost 3 years. He was rescued from the Masai Mara and also identified alone within the park without the rest of the family members. And that's why we had to rescue him, because he was below a year old. Naturally, they need the mother's milk for a minimum of 2 years. Some will go to 2.5 or even 3. Just like human beings, some will stop to suckle the mothers at a very young age, others will take a longer period. That is what happens with the baby elephants as well. So that is why we had to rescue Kiombo, who was about a year old, and right now almost 3 years old. I do have Nabulu on my right, second oldest in the nursery at 3 years, rescued from the Masai Mara, identified in the thick forest, all alone within the Masai Mara, very thin and weak, very much dehydrated and emaciated, a sign that she had been alone for quite some long time. We could not tell how long, but quite some long time, because of her condition. We could not tell exactly the whereabouts of the mother and the rest of the family members, and so we had to rescue her. She's now 3 years, and any time from now ready to go back into the world. Being the oldest in the nursery and a female assists Maisha to be in charge, because by natural instinct, it is always the oldest female that automatically becomes the main matriarch. We do have Maktau next to me, taking water from the water hole. And Maktau is 2.5 years, having been rescued from Sava West National Park, an area called Maktau. Just to remind you, all the names have got a relation to the place we've rescued them, or reasons that have caused them to be left orphans. And that's why Maktau was named after the place. He was only 3 months old, found in a community all alone, which meant that he was an orphan. And being in a community suspects that he, being an orphan, might have been involved by human beings. And that's why we suspect he's a victim of human-wildlife conflict. We do have Maisha with the trunk high, feeding on her bottle. And Maisha is about 3.5 years, having been rescued from Sava Conservation Area. Became an orphan while at the age of about 8 months. The mother believed to have died from starvation due to drought. That's why Maisha was left alone. We do have Rojo still taking his bottle, and Rojo is slightly over 1.5 years, 19 months. Rojo was rescued from Sava West National Park. The mother suspected to have been killed by poachers, and Rojo is believed to have seen everything that happened to the mother, because he was found close to the dead body of the mother. And that's why he was so much traumatized and stressed when he came in. And that's why he's been too much attached to the big girls in the nursery, because he saw what happened to the mother, and that caused a lot of trauma and stress to him. But we are happy to note that he is improving. He's getting back to normal. It has taken long, but actually he's getting back to normal and trying at some extent or to some point to be independent and do his own things. Laro here, and Laro is about 2 years old. Laro was rescued from the Masai Mara or Laro Conservancy, believed to have been separated from her family by human beings, and so she's a victim of human wildlife conflict. We do have two more joining us. An elephant called Kiasa right in front, being followed by the noisemaker in the nursery, an elephant called Naboishu. And Naboishu likes to complain and make a lot of noise all the time, sometimes with a reason, sometimes without a reason. And Naboishu is right here. You can hear him complain, but he's already getting his bottle but has to shout. Naboishu is about 2 years, and Naboishu was rescued from the Masai Mara. The mother is believed to have died from a natural disease, and the baby left in the company of the rest of the herd, who are trying to provide protection and taking care of him. But we knew in the long run he could not have survived because he was young to survive on greens. He still needed the mother's milk, but there was no mother to provide the milk since the mother was dead. A lactating female does not want to jeopardize the status of her own baby for the sake of another one. And that is why if you leave a baby all alone in a herd because this baby can be protected but the baby is under 2 years, that baby will starve to death. And that is the reason to why we had to rescue Naboishu. I do have Kiasa walking away, the last one among the 12 to come in, and Kiasa is about 3 years. She was rescued from a conservation area. She was about 8 months. She's a drought victim. The mother is believed to have died from severe drought. Why she was left as an orphan and luckily identified, and that's why we had to go out for rescue. So that makes a total of 12 elephants. 12 in the nursery does not mean that we only have 12 orphans in the country, but these are the lucky ones that have been identified out there. We might be having orphans out there, but nobody knows, and that's why they've not been rescued. But if identified, we are conducted, and we have to fly out immediately to help rescue them so that we can give them a second chance to survive back into the world. Different reasons have caused all these babies to be left orphans, and human wildlife conflict is one of the major reasons that has caused most of them to be orphans. And human wildlife conflict is a big problem in our country at the moment. And this is a big problem because there is always an increase in the population of man or human beings compared to the space or size of land. And this has caused lots of conflicts because human beings are occupying areas that belong to wild animals. Migratory routes of wild animals have been occupied by people, and people are doing farming and building structures and doing lots of developments in these areas, causing conflicts with wild animals if they want to migrate from one area to the other. And that is why in the course of the fight, sometimes the babies are separated from the rest of the family members. Sometimes the mothers are killed. Sometimes people are doing farming next to the national parks or the reserves, making the animals get attracted to their crops and breaking the fence to get and feed on the crops, and the fights erupts. So during such conflicts, sometimes the mothers are killed or separated, and if the babies are identified later on, we are conducted. We are conducted because sometimes nobody knows the whereabouts of the mother and the rest of the family members. And you cannot just introduce a baby to a herd you're not sure of, or because they will reject that baby, and that baby might be injured. And that's why you have to be sure, if you're introducing a young one to a herd, you have to be sure that this baby belongs to this family. So that is one of the major reasons that at the moment is causing most of them to be left orphans, human wildlife conflict. Ivory poaching is another reason that has caused some of them to be left orphans, but we are happy at the moment. Very few are orphans in the nursery because of ivory poaching. And a natural reason has caused some of them to be left orphans. And by natural reasons, I mean old age, natural diseases, and starvation out in the world. And due to climate change, we've had longer periods of drought compared to normal. And that has caused lots of animals to die because there's no water, there's no food, there's no vegetation. and the mothers will die fast because the babies will keep on suckling everything that the mother has until the mother is left without any milk, and that's why the mother dies fast and the baby is identified if lucky. So those are the reasons that have caused these babies to be left orphans and therefore brought here in the nursery so that we can take care of them before reintroducing them back into the world within Savo Conservation Area. We've got 3 reintroduction centers. One is based within the northern part of Savo East National Park called the Idumba Stockades. We also have the Voi Stockades, southern part of Savo East. And we also have Kibwezi Forest, Umani Spring Stockades, where we reintroduce the orphans. And once in these centers, we have our keepers that will still monitor them, that will still follow them, that will still ensure that they are safe out there until the time they get invited in a herd of wild elephants, who will take control of them, who will train them, who will protect them. And eventually, they stay a natural life out there, interacting with all wild herds. And that's why we've got some of the females that have gone out there and have been expecting, and they give birth and they come back to show the newborn wild babies, like Lenana came to show Lapa. So that tells the success of the reintroduction part and the success of the whole process of rescuing them before reintroducing them back into the wild. Well, Nabulu enjoying the mud bath right in the middle. All the others on the sides. Very fresh mud bath for them. A little bit of cold and warm breeze coming in and out. And that's why you can see not everybody getting into the mud. Rolling down here is Nabulu. Mukoka next to me. Feeding on the greens is Naleku, but after having rolled on the sides and looks wet at the moment. Kiombo wants to get in, but halfway. Well, Maisha trying to open the barriers to make sure that the water comes out from the water hole. And that is what she does most of the time, to ensure that they have enough water on the outside of the water hole and not getting inside. Maktau lying down on the top of the dust pile. Maisha going right on top. Nabulu spraying herself from the edge. Actually testing the depth of the mud bath before she gets in. And spraying enough water on the edge for all the others. Rojo on the ground, almost getting in. Next to Nabulu is Rojo, almost getting in. And the sun coming out, so the Oma want to get in. So if you're joining us now, welcome. We are at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery. 12 baby elephants before us now. One of the feeding times at 3 p.m. already finished the bottles, enjoying the mud bath, and some are feeding on the greens. And the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust also has other projects that we undertake. For example, we've got mobile veterinary units, we've got anti-poaching teams, community projects, we've got a dog unit, we also have an aerial surveillance, and all that is working together with the Kenya Wildlife Service to ensure that all animals are out in the parks. Our anti-poaching teams will patrol the parks to ensure that the no poachers, the no snares, and the no illegalities going on within the park, being assisted by the dog unit as well, and also the aerial surveillance to ensure that if something is happening on the ground, our anti-poaching teams are conducted and can go and help correct it. Laro next to me feeding on the greens. Our community project will ensure that the communities neighboring the parks and the reserves are being educated and they know what to do, how to behave in case they encounter the animals in their farms, whom to conduct and how to behave or go about with the wild animals so that there are no conflicts every now and then. The same community project also educate the children neighboring the parks and the reserves, going to the schools, giving education to the children so that they know the importance of taking care of these animals, why they need to be protected, how they should be protected, so that when they're fully grown, they'll help protect and care for these animals in general. Our mobile veterinary units ensuring that any injured animals within the parks are being treated and set free to continue with their own natural life out there. Nabulu lying down at the edge, trying to mount on Nabulu is Roho. Lara on the side. Laro doesn't want to get deep in the mud and wants to do it on the sides, being assisted by the keeper. Lara dusting herself on the dust pile at the end. Maisha keen on on Roho, just ensuring that Roho is all okay. That's why you can see all her trunk is all over around Roho. And Roho getting fully inside the mud bath. Together with Nabulu. Maisha joining them. That is what we call elfin mud bath, actually having a clean bath with the mud. We don't wash our orphans because we set them free in a wild environment. If you wash them clean, nobody will be washing them out in the world. So that is why we want them to have a better washing or mud bath, rolling in the mud, enjoying themselves. The mud protects them from direct sunshine and also protects them from being bitten by some insects as well, despite it being fun for them, despite them enjoying it all throughout. Mukoka at the far end getting in as well. Rojo right in the middle. Kiasa joining Mukoka as well. And Maisha on the side. Now, Nabulu might want to dry herself in the dust after rolling in the mud. Now, Mukoka right in the middle being pushed by Kiasa. Enjoying it all alone is Mukoka. Right in the middle. Kiasa making sure that they break the barriers to get all the water out. Opening everything to get all the water out. That is Kiasa doing it now. So if you're joining us now, welcome. We are at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery. Just letting you enjoy to see the elephants, baby elephants, doing what they love most, rolling and playing and enjoying the mud bath. They have now created their own mud bath outside after opening all the water to get out. Kyombo wants to try it again. Open on the other side. So if you're joining us now, welcome. And 12 baby elephants have just enjoyed the mud bath. You can see everybody standing out. They've had a lot of fun, and this is a sign that they've already had enough fun. You might be interested in supporting the work that is done by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. You are highly welcomed. You only need to go on our website and find out how you can donate, how you can support. You can do that in form of adopting or sponsoring an elephant, which is costing a minimum fee of $50 a year. And you can sponsor an elephant to yourself or as a gift to a friend. And if you do it as a gift, it is a gift recipient that will receive the updates every month. But if you do it for yourself, it's you that will receive the updates every month. And we also have the Keeper's Diary that is written every day, telling different stories from different orphans. And all that will be updated to you on monthly basis online. You also get a watercolor painting, which is done by Angela Sheldrick. Will be brought to you on monthly basis online as well. You can also support the work that is being done by the Sheldricks by donating to us the other projects like the mobile veterinary units, the anti-poaching teams, the community project, the aerial surveillance, the dog unit. And all those are ensuring that all other animals are safe within the parks, within our country, working together with the Kenya Wildlife Service to ensure that all are safe out there. So we will let the elephants do what they want to do. If they want to walk away, we'll let them walk away. If they want to stay and enjoy, we'll let them do it. Kiombo all alone in the mud and everybody deciding to walk away. So I'd like to say thank you very much for actually joining us. I want to believe you've enjoyed enjoying the mud. And thank you for supporting the work that is being done by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. We shall continue to play our role by ensuring that we give these babies a second chance to survive out in the world. And remember to keep safe. Asante sana.